Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, how's everybody doing tonight?
I
Guess,
will let you know on Monday. What?
guess what I just found in the spider's cage? One of those roach things that Nick likes so much.
Oh no! Oh no! No! Anything but that.
Still alive in there?
There's still one of those roaches in
Is
there.
it alive?
Ah,
I found it outside and put it back
yeah,
twice.
yeah.
Oh
Apparently
God!
She doesn't like them either, Nick.
Well, no, this thing found its way up to the laundry room upstairs. How it
Oh
got there,
jeez!
I don't know. But these are like those hissing cockroaches that you feed.
No! No! Those are even.
I-
That's even worse.
I forgot we bought them, and I flipped. Or he bought them, and I knew he did it, but I didn't know what it looked like. I flipped because I saw it in the laundry room upstairs. I took a picture of it, put it on Facebook, asking, "What the hell is this?" And everybody's like, "It's what you feed lizards with." And I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Did you get those?" He goes, "Yeah." Well, she can't eat them.
Okay,
Oh
think
my God!
I think I've got this thing shared out everywhere like I'm supposed to. So, how is everybody doing today?
I am ready to go fishing tomorrow.
And I'm just starting my vacation.
I just clicked something and something came up and I don't know what it is. What did I click?
Oh God! Don't tell me you accidentally logged into like a cockroach site.
No. Okay, here I'm just gonna there. I don't even know what I clicked. I had my hand on the mouse like I'm gonna do something.
What's going on, Joe?
Hello?
Are you going? Or are
Yeah.
you playing a game?
No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Sean?
Okay, so we do have something serious that we need to
Yes.
Hey, Nick, look in your inbox.
show.
Oh no! Oh jeez! I'll wait until afterwards.
Oh no. We want to see your face.
So,
No! Damn it!
Yeah, but that's not in context to how big it really is. It fits in your palm of your hand. Like it's
Oh God, no! All
it's
right,
nasty.
I've seen it, and now I'm going to delete it, and that will be that. That's the Madagascar ones. The ones from Madagascar.
Mm-hmm.
Madagascar.
The bigger they are, you can see their little faces, and they're really cute.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Just like if you blow up a dragonfly, they're beautiful. They really are. They're so cute little faces. The little spiders, those little jumping spiders, they have the cutest little faces.
Yeah, those are dragonflies and spiders, not cockroaches.
They're still bugs, and it's okay.
All right. Anyways, go ahead, Jeremy.
are you going to be okay, Nick?
A little traumatized after seeing that picture, but I'll be okay.
Well, I think after seeing that, we're going to be able to put some of that Atletico to work.
Oh, jeez,
So-
Chris.
So anyway, yeah, we do have something serious that we want to bring out, but we're not really going to be talking about it, but in awareness that one of our own has suffered the worst possible nightmare that you can possibly imagine. Clarissa was a member of Things for over 2 years, and last Friday she lost her son. Um, She has been starting to post about it a little more. He passed away in an automobile accident. He was only 19 years old. He was only 2 months older than my daughter. So that hits a little close to home for me.
Yeah.
Um, so she's been a little on the quiet side, which, understandably so. Um, and the public viewing is on Sunday. It'll be there in Bluffton, and then after that, they will be having a private thing for just the family. I couldn't believe it when she said that. When she told us, it's just like one of those things you don't ever think would happen.
Yeah.
But it unfortunately did, and it's one of those things where everything changes. She lost a son. Aurora has lost a brother. It's really hard to, huh?
I was gonna say any friends he had, they lost a good friend. They
Yeah.
lost a good friend of theirs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, I was reading one of her posts, and this isn't, speculation of any kind. This is just what was said, but this attests to her character, because I can tell you, I don't believe I would have handled it the way she did. I would have been so pissed off at the other driver for being impaired and taking someone's life. I'm sure she is, but her anger, she pushed it back, and it went to helping the other driver's family and the other driver. She posted his GoFundMe. I don't know that I could be that nice this early. I just don't.
Well, to also think too, fact that he was only 19 when he passed away. I mean, he was still at that age where he had his entire life ahead of him.
He had just left and tried it on his own, I believe is what she said.
Yeah.
That's not easy. That's not easy for anybody.
Being the youngest one here, I could certainly tell you it definitely wasn't easy for me when I eventually left high school.
Well, he left home and was trying to.
He left home. Oh, I didn't know anything about that. Okay, I guess I must have missed that, unfortunately.
He was on his way home, on his way to work. He had been living on his own and had just recently moved back home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Living on your own is not all it's cracked up to be. Just don't do it. Don't grow up.
Yeah.
No.
As you guys know, I mean, at my age, I'm still living at home with my parents.
Well, I'm still living at home with his parents.
There was I'm not going to say exactly who, but it is the daughter of one of our viewers that watches our shows every now and then. His daughter at one point tried living on her own. They live in central Illinois, but she decided she wanted to move to Ohio. But after, I think, just maybe a few months or so, she later made a live video of it. I don't know if it's still up now, but I guess in a way it's like she kind of had like a change of heart, if you will, for lack of a better term. And that's when she decided to come back home to Illinois. I think she was just not ready to basically be living on her own. And not only that,
they are, yeah.
Well, yeah, I saw that. I have this on the projector, so that's why I'm looking this direction.
Not today.
Anyways,
not today.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, but what is interesting, however, though, is that this same daughter I'm talking about, she has moved out again on her own, but this time she lives not as far. She lives just like street from where her parents are, and of course, she's also living with a few roommates. So yeah,
That
you can
helps.
kind of, yeah, it does help. So in a way, yeah, she too was living on her own for a brief period. In this case, in a different state, and it was just something she couldn't handle. I think she said it was more expensive to live in Ohio than it was in Illinois. So that was probably another reason why she decided to move back.
There's nothing worse than Colorado except maybe California
Yeah.
as far as expensive.
And
Well, Ohio.
that's the problem today with a lot of our kids trying to move out on their own is just that it is just so damn expensive anymore.
It is, unless you're out buying a house, which mortgage is less than rent in most cases, unless you're, trying to buy a mansion. But
Yeah, explain that to us.
yeah. And what's
Well,
really bad, like I just got a TikTok. I was scrolling right before I got off work. And what I found today was very disturbing. We all know, Jan lives on the border of Mexico and New Mexico. And so illegals come through, and they're not always from Mexico. I can tell you, they are not from Mexico.
like Central and South America.
Uh-huh. And so she's been having issues with them. She has not herself, but she has had neighbors that, the SWAT team comes because they have broken into homes trying to find refuge. Okay, I feel bad for them. I do. My parents are immigrants. I don't know how I do it, but I found out today that apparently in Lakewood, Colorado, outside of Denver, which we're not that far outside of Denver, there's people from, I'm not going to bash the country because it's not the country, it's the people, are coming in and posing as delivery people and breaking into people's homes, taking children. School's fixing to start. Kids are going to be walking to school. I am no longer allowing my grandkids to go out to the park. No. And this is what our country's come to. It's time for us to rearm ourselves and take it back over.
Yep.
It's definitely gotten bad. I also want to share this. Clarissa's sister started that GoFundMe page. I am going to share that here,
Yes.
and it has gotten an amazing response.
Our field is amazing.
Yeah, it's got an amazing response. Almost 65% of the goal that her sister had set has been met.
Our
Right.
field is amazing when it comes
Yeah.
to people that need help. Nick,
Yeah. What?
what deceased pet?
I was wondering what that was too. Hang on one second. Let me go. So, what was that questioning? Has Nick ever experienced? No, not that I can recall. I mean, I know other people have had experiences with deceased pets, but as far as I know, not that I can think, not for us.
I haven't either, unfortunately.
Well, what I was going to say, I mean, if it's all right for me to say it, I mean, when it comes to like you just said about when we need to give help or something, I was actually one of those that made a donation for that GoFundMe. I thought it was the right thing to do.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that it has been well received, because there have been others where there's buckets.
Yeah.
And GoFundMe's have left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but I've explained that in previous episodes.
Yeah, they take quite a percentage. That's for sure.
Yeah, they do. They do.
No, it's not that. It's that more people seem to be willing to help celebrities create shows and stuff through GoFundMe, but they don't want to spend that same amount of money and give it to somebody who really needs help.
And the people that do that, the reason that they do that is because they think they're going to get famous. Like,
Actually,
hey. No, I don't. No, I
Yes,
absolutely
she
do
does.
not.
She
No, I
does
do
not. She's good at where she's at right now.
No, I do
just
not.
wait till Brad gets on here, then you'll see a new different side.
Yeah.
He's seen it. He's seen it. But I think they think they're going to get recognition somehow, or that they can boast that they helped this person make this show. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's very skewed thinking.
It really is because, I mean, I'll be honest too. I mean, normally I'm not too crazy when it comes to like the go. Again, like what you guys just said. But if it's obviously somebody that we all know and we know that this is truly, or in the case like somebody really does need help, those are my exceptions to it. I'm willing to
Right.
donate, for not only someone that we know, but someone who desperately does need help. And I could actually see that they really are looking for their help and not trying to just get money just to be rich and famous, like you said.
I mean, if someone thinks about it, who expects to lose a healthy 19-year-old child of any kind?
No,
Yeah.
Daughter, son.
No one does.
And who has life insurance on
Yeah,
said?
I'm glad you brought that up because last that I know, she wasn't able to find out if he did have life insurance.
Right. And
Uh,
it's sad.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to go through where she was talking about. I don't know how long he had been at this job.
Mhm.
And honestly, I don't even remember how long it takes after somebody starts a new job. How long you can start doing life insurance?
Depends on the job. Depends on mine was 90 days.
Well, most places it's 90 days for the benefits, but I don't know if life insurance would be the same way.
Yeah, mine was with the rest of it, but every job's different. But as far as that, yes, you might keep life insurance on your child until the age of 21 sometimes if you have that option. But who expects that? I didn't do that with my children when they were younger because when you're young, you don't think of things like that unless they're sick. You don't think of things like that.
Right.
You don't want to think of things like that. You shouldn't have to.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
And
when
then when it
Leah
happens,
was, I think, maybe 2 years old, I got a policy on her, which continues to this day.
mhm.
And my dad, a lot of you guys know that I lost a brother when I was young. He was just shy of his 19th birthday when he died.
Mhm.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So that kind of brought some bad feelings for Dad when I told him about Clarissa's son.
Well, we're not going to talk about the life insurance policy I've got on Zach because
Yeah.
if I do that, then if something happens, I'm going to get blamed.
This show can be collateral evidence.
Exactly.
One other thing I just want to put up too. I mean, because I mean, not necessarily saying it's. I know obviously this was, just recently 2 years ago. And I know I'm obviously several years older, but upon hearing about like this whole thing, it of course brought back memories for me when I was in that near car accident with Tom 2 years ago when we were in Ohio. With that semi truck basically.
Has it been already?
Yeah, it was because I was 20. Funny enough, I was just 10 years older. I was 29 when that happened, and I really thought when that accident occurred that I really thought I was going to die. Wait, what did he say? Need a life
That's
insurance
that's
policy
what
on
I'm
Ernie.
saying.
He's over the hill with one foot in the grave.
That's what I'm saying. Yep.
Uh, speaking of which, I know all you guys know about it, but we're going to be having Ernie on this show, well, they are going to be having Ernie on this show here in a couple weeks.
Yep. But like what I was saying, though, I mean, it brought back memories of what I went through, knowing that I could have shared that same fate in a way. Because again, that was definitely the closest I've gone to death so far.
Well, it's one of those things. It wasn't meant to be. You just don't think about it anymore, and it's over. It's done. It's any of us could have been crossing the street and something happened every day.
Right.
Or crossing an intersection, something we don't live thinking like that, or you don't live.
Denise, oh my God.
I am so going to enjoy watching that episode.
Yeah. And no, I did not, Tom. Jeez, I was scared to death when that happened.
Well, here's the thing, Nick. If you did, nobody would have blamed you or even laughed at you for that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, no one would at all.
But yeah, so that's what's going on. The viewing will be for friends on Sunday. I'm definitely going to be going there. I know Michael is planning on going there. I think Scott will be. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, if I, even though I'm only 3.5 hours away, if I had the opportunity, I would have came out too. But as I would probably say, the best thing, and for us that live far ways, we'll definitely be there in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on, Nick, do you have a book report for us this week?
A book? Oh my God! I failed, Charity. I failed my report. I know what it's going to be. F minus minus.
Did you actually read it?
Huh? What?
Did you actually read it?
Yeah, I read first couple 3 pages at least.
The story's a little bit longer than 3 pages, Nick.
I know. I was just getting myself a head start, and I was again. Well, here's the thing. Now I probably have more time to do it because I'm on vacation.
I was gonna say, what's your excuse now?
Yeah,
there is no excuse. I can do it now.
There you go. We got him on camera saying he's got no excuse. So we will be expecting a book report from you next week.
Next week. Yeah, these last few days, especially with work, have been really rough. And every day I've been coming home, I'm just like physically exhausted. But I don't go back to work now until next Tuesday. So yeah, I got a lot of time to read it. So the book report will be rescheduled for next week. I promise.
Chris read it right away, and he was done within the hour.
I'll get it done. I promise. I'll raise that F minus to an A plus.
Big goals. Big goals.
Yeah.
Last week we did something I don't recall us ever doing, and we actually talked about politics.
Yeah.
And just when we thought, okay, now we're just going to move on, here comes another wrench into the gears. Joe Biden announced that he is not going to run for re-election.
Yep.
Now, I can't help but think that there was a private little coup involved.
It wasn't very private.
No, no. But from all the reports that I have been reading, now, don't get me wrong, I don't give a shit about politics, but these past few months have been rather interesting, um, and they usually do in election time. But this is the first time in almost 60 years that a sitting president has announced that he is not going to seek re-election. That's big news.
It is. That's pretty much basically historic in a way.
It is. And Trump, if he gets reelected, that makes him the second person ever to get non-consecutive terms. It makes it right now. It makes him the fifth former president to seek another term that is not consecutive with the first. Oh boy, and now we got Kamala Harris,
Kamala Harris.
who, although is not completely decided, but more or less it is, being his opposition. Can't believe he nominated a front runner without having us vote.
I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean.
I oh, because Biden won the primaries, for the Democratic side, and he had like 99% of the delegations.
Okay.
So he more or less had the Democratic nomination set. They were just going to make it official. When's the convention? About 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, it was like about 3 weeks ago now.
So now with him announcing that he is not going to seek re-election, that just throws a curveball into everything.
It has.
So the Democrats now have to officially decide who is going to run, and even though from everything that we're seeing, it is going to be her. I'm still reading there's a lot of Democrats that don't want her to be on that ticket.
Yeah, it's from what I've been seeing, because again, I'm sorry to always keep repeating it, but like my dad who watches CNN all the time, I mean, they've been saying a lot about it. So, the future of what they're saying, for eventually the election from CNN side, it's kind of hard to say for the most part.
Yeah, so I don't know as far as Lyndon Johnson if he announced that he wasn't going to seek re-election before or after the primaries then. But if Biden had made that decision before the primaries, then whoever would be running on that side would probably already have been decided by now.
Yeah.
So
one point.
Huh?
I was going to say at one point, because they were even talking already about like what would be the possible like future also VP on the Democrat side. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard, actually among one of those possibilities was actually our governor here in Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. He was on the list for like a day or two, but then afterwards he wasn't anymore. So I guess he wasn't going to be chosen as like if they were looking for a new nominee for vice president.
I haven't heard his name. I keep hearing Shapiro, Bashir, Kelly.
Like I said, Pritzker, he was only on for like 1 or 2 days, and then after that, he wasn't on the list anymore. So he didn't last long.
Okay. I keep hearing, Newman, governor of California. I heard his name, but from what I hear, that even the people of California don't like the guy.
Yeah, I don't really focus on the other governors from other states. Obviously, I just only hear from what I hear from J.P. Pritzker.
So, needless to say, it's going to be a very, very interesting 3.5 months to come. For
Just
sure.
like I think it's like now officially like 100 days left. Because I remember when Kamala made her first speech, she said it was like 105. So I think it's about 100 days away now.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because 3 months is roughly 90 days.
Yep.
So it's getting to be crunch time.
Yeah, it is. It's good. And to think in just a few days, I mean, we'll be right in August. So it's getting closer and it's moving in fast.
It is. So it'll be interesting. So now now that Biden has dropped out, because I know a lot of people were moving to Trump because they didn't want, with the health issues and everything with Biden going on, they couldn't see him possibly being able to run it. And then I heard a rumor going around that, okay, he was going to win it, but he was going to resign after a month and let Kamala become president. And I'm thinking, okay, if that's the thing, you need to be upfront about that so that people actually know who they're voting for.
Yep.
So now with her coming up, that's going to kind of even the states here.
Yeah.
Because if you
some
ask
sides
me,
changed.
yeah, if you ask me, Donald Trump is a public relations nightmare.
Yep.
He is not a very good speaker. He is not elegant like everybody is, and that's really all I got to say. I was kind of 75% knew who I was going to end up voting for, but now that Biden is out and Harris most likely is in, now I don't know.
Yeah. It's I said the same thing actually before even Biden stepped out. I wasn't sure what to do, especially after the whole debate. It's like I didn't know what to do, but as of right now, it's still kind of up in the air for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. The debate was horrible for Biden. It was.
I only watched 5 minutes of it. After 5 minutes, I was like, I'm done. I'm sorry, but I can't watch this anymore.
But what a lot of people keep forgetting is that there are more candidates out there. It's just that the debates and all the talk is only focusing on the two, and that's the two main parties. And to me, that is a big mistake because you got other people on other parties that are running who really should be looked at, given a chance to talk, given a chance to be in the debates. But the debates are only focusing on Republican and Democrats. And I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that we don't really get to hear too much from the other parties because, there's more than just the two.
Yeah, because right now I am looking at the list here. They have the Libertarian Party with somebody named Chase Oliver. I have no idea who he is.
I don't know who he is either.
The Green Party with Jill Stein. I have heard of her over the years. Robert Kennedy Jr. and the Independents.
Yep.
And somebody named Cornel West, who's an independent. And then there's a few others. One name I can't even pronounce. Johnny Bus, Joseph Foreman. He's a rapper. Oh, Afro Man.
I was going to say, wait, what?
Yeah, some guy named Taylor Marshall. For whatever reason, Kanye West's name is on here.
Kanye West?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Apparently.
Unless it's a different. I was gonna say unless it's a different Kanye West.
Anybody can put their name on it.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, but Kanye West actually thought he had a chance of getting enough votes.
I it's my personal opinion, but I doubt he would.
Well, to be fair, if we're going to talk about anybody in entertainment or singing, I can see Dwayne Johnson getting a majority of the votes. I can see Taylor Swift getting a majority of the
Yep.
votes.
Dwayne Johnson.
Those are
Yeah, I
the
was
two
gonna say-
hottest names in the world right now.
I was going to say Dwayne Johnson actually had talked about that he had interest in wanting to run for president. I remember seeing like online articles about that.
Yeah, he did, and he decided he's just not the right guy to do it. So,
Especially with his active film career. I mean, he's like involved in everything nowadays.
oh yeah, he just launched a health brand. Yeah,
2 years ago, he was the host for Shark Week.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Hell, I'll throw my name in. Vote for me. Put my name in. I don't care.
Tom, vote for Mr. Dick Pickle Mule.
We are not voting on a pickle. And Adrian's being quiet on this whole thing, which might actually be the smartest move all three of us.
It really is.
But to be fair, I am not endorsing anybody. I won't endorse anybody. I'm not going to endorse any party. I'm just laying out the facts.
Yeah.
And how I'm seeing it.
It's a good way, at least. I mean, the way how you're laying it out.
Yeah. I'm just laying out, okay, this is what's going on. This is what I'm seeing. You know, who I'm going to vote for, I don't know. And I probably won't know until the day of. I just need to see, you know, how these next 100 days are going to play out.
Yep. You still got 3 months. 3 months. So you still got time to think.
Yeah.
So only time will tell.
Right. Oh, and disclaimer, we're going to be ending the show a little early tonight. I will be on Myth or Mystery. There's this new segment that they started doing with ghost stories where they bring people on and telling stories, and they're trying something out. After the first couple weeks, they decided to try something out, and then they're bringing me in. Greg and I did a pre-recording, but they're still going to have me come on to the show for a few minutes there towards the beginning. So we will be ending the show a little early, probably 15 minutes early.
I was going to say, if they're looking for people to talk about scary stories, I know a few stories I could tell.
Yeah, but they want stories that can be told in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Kate?
Hi, Kate. Because the first time they had somebody on there to do the ghost stories, it went on for about 45 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So they're trying to condense it down so that they can be able to end their show at a respectable.
Behind me.
Don't knock your shit.
We still see you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can really see you now.
Yeah, we can.
Addison,
I don't even mind it. I don't even mind.
say
it.
hello.
I
Get your hand off your face. You've done
Hi
that
there.
cool.
don't even mind being on camera.
Drake.
Hi.
Yeah, there you go. Good job. Oh, you love a camera. Don't give me that bullshit. Don't give me that bullshit.
Don't look up. Just look straight at the camera.
Oh, let people see up her nose. Oh, good.
Say someone's camera shy.
Oh, she is not. She's acting a fool. Addison Elizabeth,
Yes,
you look like Cousin It. Knock it off.
I am it. I certainly.
Or
She
look like
kinda-
one of those. What are those? The little.
It does.
Well, yeah,
Doesn't
like it
doesn't
dolls.
Cousin It wear like a little black hat? So that's what we need to give to her so that she can look like Cousin It.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget those
all in front
glasses.
of your face. And
Didn't Cousin It also wear like sunglasses or something? you
yeah,
need the
over the
glasses.
hair eyes.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
the glasses too.
Cousin It does wear. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So these two are in here because they were fighting and hitting each other.
Uh-oh.
Play fighting.
Yeah, they were playing, but one of them doesn't know how to settle down, and she hits a little too hard.
Don't look at me. You're right. You see which
Yeah, we're
pronoun-
absolutely looking at
you see
you.
which pronunciation she's
She is the only girl of 4 brothers, so and she whoops them all.
Okay, so the term "hits like a girl" does not come into play here.
No,
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 it doesn't.
I don't think it does in any of our family.
No.
I think you've been
You
hit
hit like
harder
a
by
girl,
all of
though.
us girls than you have anybody else, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hits like a girl.
Hey,
Well, growing up with 4 brothers, she would have to learn how to hit like a
Yeah.
yeah, I feel sorry for anybody she dates
I
because
also don't get into fights like her.
it's not.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about having a baseball bat there by the front door.
I was running with a baseball bat.
Wow.
I was mad at him
Why would you chase somebody down the road with a baseball bat?
because he made me mad.
Were you dating him?
No.
Then you had no business
He was
doing
my
that.
ex.
He was your ex. Once they leave your property, you go to jail if you hit him with a baseball bat, dipshit.
She didn't hit him though. She scared
Wait a
me.
minute, are you even old enough to have an ex?
No, she's absolutely not. But
I
here
was
we
gonna
are.
say, wait a second.
But here we are. How many exes do we have at this point?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh boy, she's counting fingers.
Run out of fingers, did you?
She's at.
Generation.
Let's move on. Let's move on from this topic.
She ran out of fingers.
Yeah.
I ran out of fingers.
Yeah, I thought so.
Nah, I can tell you how much exes I have.
That's all right. She's got brothers that are gonna
One.
realize at some point that stuff's getting serious, and those exes are gonna disappear.
This generation of today.
Maybe, but we're gonna live in the same town for a while.
Oh, they're gonna live in the same town. Well, that town is made up of 200 people, so I think you're fine. Just be careful not to date your family.
I don't have any family there,
That's what you think.
and I think I don't have any family there.
I wouldn't bet on that either.
Yeah, I said this right thing.
Yeah, small towns, they're wonderful for people telling you your business in case you forgot
Oh
it.
wait, am I on TV?
Yes,
TV, bruh.
bruh. Yes, bra.
No,
Do we need to discuss your bra?
no.
All right then.
Look at the logo. You are live on the Things Network.
That's right.
Yeah, you want to discuss anything else, Dumb?
Can I go?
Yeah, one of y'all can sit right in that chair right there. So until Grandpa comes home.
Not it. You're right. I know who that is. I said you're right. No, Drake, you're right there.
No, Drake, yeah, you can sit right there. You'd like this room all day long playing video games. Sit your butt down.
Now, what do I talk about?
Hey, what's up, Amanda? Oh, you should tell them. Japan, she doesn't realize, yeah.
Yeah, we got viewers from Japan too.
That's right.
What part
Great
of Japan?
country.
Oh, I know what part of Japan. Never mind. She's a
Yeah,
long
we
ways
got-
from free.
We are broadcasting live across 4 different continents.
That's right.
Yeah, free is in Okinawa. I never say it right. Whatever it is,
Okinawa.
I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Okinawa.
Yeah, Okinawa is one of the places that my dad went to when he was in the Marine.
Yeah, they're getting so many American restaurants these days.
In Okinawa?
Yeah, well, in Japan, period.
Oh, throughout Japan. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I was Japan, I'd kick them all out because
Yeah, because that's going to be a major culinary shock for all of them.
yeah, oh yeah, when Free comes home, he's like, I can't eat these burgers. That's not what I'm used to eating, and I can't do it. He
Yeah.
doesn't even have a stove. The apartments don't even have stoves in them.
Oh, really?
I can't do without a stove.
No oven. You want one? I guess you buy it by yourself. I'm more
Amanda
rural and
says
country.
Yeah,
So
she's
we're
more
not-
rural and country because where she lives, and Irene, well, she and Irene have both told me is that she's I don't know if she's near or within
There's a
Nagasaki,
nail on
which
the floor.
she's in the Nagasaki region.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't go eat that sushi every day. That's not gonna happen.
I like sushi.
But if you're not used
Oh,
to the grease, mm-mm.
I'm sorry, Amanda. Yeah, you're right. She actually is in Nagasaki. My mistake. Sorry about that.
Nagasaki was the
One of the atomic bombs. Yeah, one of the atomic bombs during World War II. And I've learned actually from both her and Irene that although both atomic bombs killed so many people,
Yeah.
Hiroshima was worse because, like I said, that was a more like city area. Nagasaki, even back in 1945, was still a relatively rural area, but a rural town.
Even
Did
though
the
there were two different
Flash?
bombs. One was called the big boy and one was the little boy.
That's
Jeremy.
correct. Yes.
About 30 seconds ago, mark that and go back and look. It looked like your lights flashed in the back.
Oh, that's
I didn't-
that's my lamp up here. It does that now and then.
That's not good. You better check that.
Yeah, it's an old lamp.
Even worse.
Yeah, it's an old lamp, but it does that now and then.
Sushi was good. Yeah, nope. I can't do.
She's near both. She's near both bombing sites.
I know in one of the cities there was like an arch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen the arch. I can't remember the name of it. Amanda, can you help
Yeah,
us out with
it
that
was
one?
like
Yes.
the only thing left standing after the bomb. And,
Yeah.
Guys, I'm
and they
Okay, then you're not ready to calm down.
left it alone. They did not touch it. It looks just like it did right after the bombing.
It's probably obviously it's definitely one of the very few surviving structures.
I hit
From
Might be
the
the only
bomb.
surviving structure.
Yeah, I was going to say, if not the only.
because he's a
So I would imagine
you can't take
arch
Go.
is probably
I
a
hear you.
monument to them.
I hit you. If I hear y'all, I get to hit.
Let me know and make that hit that really hard.
I will hit you both if I hear one of you yelling.
I'm gonna yell on purpose now.
So how are things going between the two of them compared to the three of the others?
Wonderful. This is playing. This is just playing and being loud. The other two, I guess Gabriel's been telling his aunt he wants to go home, which understandable. He's young, and he's never been away this long ever. Like maybe the night. So he has done really good. I can't say, but we can't have this. I'm gonna tell their mom, look, they followed rules here. They followed them well. And this is your reset time. You can reset and start enforcing these rules because they're capable of doing it. They don't need to give you a headache. No reason for it.
And I know the first one
Jeremy,
headaches.
yeah. Jeremy, I think I found that arch that you were talking about. Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, I think it still looks the same as what it did after the bomb went off.
Not only survived the atomic bomb, it also survived a major earthquake and tsunami.
I wondered, is there
This is it.
in those
Sorry.
places, is there still like any kind of nuclear reaction going on? Like you can't, I mean, that's got to stay in the ground.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
If I'm not mistaken, the bomb didn't actually make it to the ground, that it was detonated above the city.
Yeah. Because there are not only, okay, well, Amanda who says they claim no, but she doesn't believe it.
I
But
can't imagine
Yeah.
that either because it would be
Well-
in the water, it would be in the ground, it was still.
Do you have like a Geiger counter, Amanda?
while we're waiting on that, what I also know too is that, and funny enough, they actually use this as a partial introduction for a movie, a horror film, believe it or not. But this was the only part of it that said that was based on true events. It was, believe it or not, it was that remake of The Hills Have Eyes, but in 2006. But in the opening was actually real. They said that, and I looked it up. It turned out that between 1945 and 1962, the United States conducted 300 nuclear tests, after the bombings in Japan. And they used different types of bombs. Like when they were doing these tests, there were ones that hit above the ground, like your classic type one. There was also one for underground, one for water, and also one for the air. So almost like representing like different elements in a way. So if it was, I certainly would agree with Amanda on this. Even though they say that there's nothing like that in the soil or whatever, that doesn't mean that part, even if it was made for an above ground bomb, that doesn't mean that it could still affect the surface of the soil or water in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine because I mean, look at that. There was that place in Oklahoma that had the what was there? It's a ghost town now because nobody can live in it, but it was because there was some kind of contamination from a mine.
Yeah,
So-
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
If a mine can do that, I mean, what would an actual nuclear bomb do?
So let's see. No, it's not Pitcher. It wasn't Pitcher.
Yes, it
that
is.
was-
I think it is.
Oh, it is. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. That was my fault. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Pitcher. Yeah.
It's just said as Pritchard.
Yeah. Now, Matt also here says the radiation was so bad over there, they believe it created a bunch of cryptids. People around was getting very sick or they died from it.
I don't doubt that at all.
I definitely don't.
And
Well,
they talk about what is that what was that show when we were really young? Well, okay, when I was really young, never mind. The Swamp Thing was supposedly from radiation. I mean, where did they come up with this crap? Because it's happened.
Well,
I thought Swamp Thing was a laboratory accident.
It might have been, but one of them was from an actual radiation. It was a show. I mean, it wasn't based on reality that we know of.
Let's
But
see.
where'd they get it? Well, it's happened.
well, and if you think about it, and I'm not trying to be funny or anything, because honestly, what I'm talking about pretty much is true in a way. I mean, in the case, like if you look at, obviously, again, the atomic bombs that hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the radiation that followed, that even served as an inspiration, undoubtedly, even with the Godzilla franchise, because Godzilla was created through radiation. Not to say that it would probably be capable of creating like a giant monster. I mean, but not like a huge monster, but it was
Why
still
not?
well, at the same time, why not? But in the end, he was still the result of radiation from the atomic bombs.
And another radiation one is the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, yeah.
He was gamma radiation, and this one here is not radiation per se, but toxic Avenger as well.
Oh, check this out. What she just said. No, Godzilla is said to be a creature that actually lives here around. My Fuji. I'm sorry. I still have trouble sometimes.
Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji. Okay, yeah. What the hell was I thinking? Okay. Now, Rich. Oh, here's an interesting question. Aren't they finding odd mutated animals, fish around Chernobyl?
Okay, I haven't heard anything about that. I do know that when the event of Chernobyl happened, they sought down all the wildlife that was still living and killed them.
Well, not to mention, I know this is. I always bring this up all the time. That's prior to the meltdown. That was, of course, he had the black bird of Chernobyl being sighted before the meltdown, which supposedly they're saying that was probably the Mothman in some way. In this case, in Ukraine. So, but they had people actually saw this black bird, and it had the same description similar to the Mothman. It was black. It had red eyes to it. And it happened right before the meltdown. Mount Fuji. That we actually talked about on when our show used to be called To the Grave and Back. So we talked about that for a little while.
Okay, well, when you guys were on, that's usually when I'm still right.
Yeah, I know, but no, they're right. But no, they did have reports of a Mothman-like creature right before the Chernobyl meltdown.
I don't see why that would be before, though. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, the Mothman is that he's always seen before these catastrophes happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Like the Silver Bridge collapse. And they're now even saying that supposedly he's been seen in probably far more historic disasters than previously thought. So
did you enjoy your trip to the store, Zachary?
Will you
What's
have
that?
one of the kids bring one of those, please?
What was that, Jeremy?
I was asking Zach
Will
if
you have one of the kids bring one?
store.
Now, according to Amanda, she said the Mothman was also said to be recently seen in South America, which I'm not surprised, but
What happened there?
well, there is one possibility of the reason why the Mothman would make an appearance down in South America. It was just a few days ago that Chile was hit by a massive earthquake. So could there have been sightings before this earthquake that hit Chile? I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were.
Well, wasn't it an earthquake in Chile that caused that massive tsunami in Japan a few years ago?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I don't think so, but I will say there was another earthquake that struck Chile. This was long ago. This was actually back in 1960, and as far as we know, that earthquake was probably the strongest earthquake on record, like in world history. It was like a 9.0. I mean, it was huge. It triggered tsunamis. It also triggered a volcano, which thankfully, where the volcano erupted was in a rural area, so it didn't even get as much attention, but that earthquake was the strongest ever in world history.
Well, did you guys see the thing on the park here on Yellowstone?
I saw that. Yeah, that was terrifying.
Zach was not thrilled with me about that because his worst fear is a volcano eruption there. Because if it goes there, it's going to take everything out. Everything.
Yellowstone. That's a super volcano. I mean, those are even worse. And they're even saying, and I'm sorry to say this, Adrian, they say this could be so big, it could literally wipe out at least 6 states, including, I think, Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Colorado wouldn't exist.
No, it's going to be worse than that. If Yellowstone goes, that could trigger a new ice age.
Oh, it could.
Well, no, what I was
Yellowstone is.
Well, no, what I meant was like the actual immediate, like the eruption within the immediate area would take out 6 states. but the rest of the country, not just the rest of the country, throughout North America, would trigger, like a volcanic winter, and of course also the toxic gases which release into the atmosphere would create an environmental catastrophe.
Well, I keep telling him, we're in a bad place, because one of the first places that's going to get hit if there's a nuclear war is Colorado.
Yeah. Amanda here says earthquakes and tsunamis are yearly things here. They're used to it, which I'm not surprised, obviously. I mean, with the amount of earthquakes and tsunamis they get in Japan.
Yeah, I know. We yell at our son all the time because we'll see it on the news and call him, and he's like, yeah, I felt it. I'm fine. I would have called you if I wasn't. No, you wouldn't have called if you weren't, because you couldn't call. What the? So, yeah, we yell at him quite often about that.
And I think this was to answer your question, Jeremy. It was the opposite around. That was the earthquake in 2011 that hit Japan that caused a tsunami in Chile in the Americas.
No, I could have sworn it was something more recent than that.
Oh, wow. Amanda here says we've had a couple podcasts. Irene was just sitting through an earthquake.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that was an interesting show.
My son teaches school during an earthquake, and he's like, okay, this is what you do. Okay, let's go back to work.
The volcanic ash from Yellowstone will spread across the world and, yes, cause a new ice age. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The closest thing with my history research, the closest thing that we've had to almost a new ice age was, I mean, not necessarily modern times, but in kind of a modern era, was actually over 200 years ago, back in 1815, when I can't remember which volcano, I forgot the name of the volcano, but it was in Indonesia. It triggered this huge, super explosion. I mean, it was one of the largest ones to ever be viewed, by human civilization. And even though this occurred in Indonesia, that volcano triggered a volcanic winter. And the very next year, in 1816, the entire planet was suffering famine from freezing temperatures. It actually became known as the year without a summer.
Yeah.
Now,
Amanda, are you originally from America, or have you always been in Japan?
I think she was originally from the United States.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, I would say with her name, I'm wondering.
Oh,
yeah,
and Rich.
The one that you're looking for is Mount Tambora.
It's the one. And for some areas of the planet, it wasn't just 1 year. Some countries had to deal with it for like 2 years, up till 1818. And it should be noted for a very interesting note to add to that, because since everybody was suffering the effects of this monster volcano, a lot of people obviously took cover in their homes. Among them was a young 21-year-old writer named Mary Shelley. And it turns out that Shelley used the time to write her monster hit, Frankenstein.
That book was such a hard read to get through.
It is. I've read it.
Yeah, it was like nothing I expected. I figured there'd be some similarities between it and the movies, but holy cow.
Very different.
We're
Very
close.
And Rich also put this down. This was the one I was talking about that happened back in 1960. 9.5 magnitude tsunami hit Hawaii, Japan, and the Philippines.
Yeah, that one I did know about. But I could have sworn that there was another earthquake. Maybe it's in China or somewhere down there. There was something that happened in the Pacific Ocean. There was a huge earthquake, and it caused this tsunami to come into South Asia somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought it was Japan, because nobody knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it was coming. Those that read the seismographs of it did not realize that it was triggering the reactions in the water the way that it did. So everything was a complete shock.
Yeah.
There was one earthquake that hit. Well, it wasn't. This one too happened in Chile. This was back in 2010. But yeah, I can't seem to find which one that you were talking about. So
There were videos posted.
came from Japan, and then the tsunami of Chile, California, Oregon, and Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wanted to go back.
This is the other way around. The earthquake was in somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, close to Chile. I'm pretty sure it was, and it caused the ocean to just push and push and push and push, and then I guess once it got beyond Hawaii, that was when it started building up, and it just caused a tsunami.
Yeah,
Good town.
big old Tom.
Hong Kong, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe it's probably somewhere in Southeast Asia then.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go back to this one. This is actually for you, Adrian. Tom wrote this about Pitcher. So Pitcher, Oklahoma no longer exists as a community. In spring of 2008, an F4 tornado damaged many houses and killed 6 people, which I remember hearing about in the news. Due to the possibility of collapsing mine shafts, the Environmental Protection Agency determined that the town was dangerous to inhabit because of the mines.
I've seen a lot of paranormal investigators go through there. I know some of the houses are left as they were. My daughter used to live there at one point, and it was a nice little town. I remember it when I was pregnant with her, and it was a cute little town. But I wasn't exactly sure on it what happened. But yeah, I know it's very dangerous. People still go in there. There's another town. I can't remember where it is. It's maybe in Texas. It's between New Mexico and it's within driving distance. Let's put it that way. Because I knew somebody who went. And when you go in there, the houses are left just like they were. Things in them, vehicles still left there, everything. And if you go in there, there's certain vehicles that are going to start moving. And they're very long black Suburbans. And then pretty soon you have helicopters. And you end up leaving very quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously taken over by the government. But it's within driving distance of New Mexico. I know that because one of my old teammates did it.
You know, I'm looking more about Pitcher right now. I didn't realize that there were a few other ghost towns associated, like near Pitcher, because there's at least 3 of them. That's Carden, Treese, and Douthat. It's Douthat.
You know, I've never heard of those, and I've lived there.
Yeah, it's Carden, Treese, and Douthat. I think that's how you say it. And that's they call them fellow ghost towns because it's not far from Pitcher. But the closest like town that's not a ghost town to Pitcher is Commerce, Quapaw. I think I'm saying that right. I know that's
Quapaw,
yeah, and Miami, Oklahoma.
And Miami is less than 10-minute drive from where my son lives.
Oh, so she's not even that far from Pitcher and the neighboring ghost towns then.
Yeah, no. I don't, I can't imagine Pitcher being locked down by the government like that. But I also can't imagine. Last I heard on some TV show, there was like 1 or 2 people still living there. And they were very protective of their community. I'm not going to say community, what was left of their town.
There's a few other towns that are like that too. I mean, I think the most that I just looked up and I see that, and I see Nikki's on. I'm sure Nikki's going to, because one of the towns I'm about to bring up is in Western Australia. It says Pitcher is among a small number of locations in the world, such as, and here's another one. This one's in Colorado, Gilman, Colorado. Again, I'm having trouble with some of these things. Whittingham, Western Australia, and the most notorious of them all, Centralia, Pennsylvania, to be evacuated and declared uninhabitable due to environmental and health damage caused by area mines.
That's only 2 hours and 51 minutes from me. Let me see what it says. Abandoned in 1984 by the EPA because of toxic pollutants, including contamination of the groundwater, as well as unprofitability of the mines. It's currently a ghost town on private property, never mind. And is strictly off limits to the public.
Well, the one that I mentioned, the most notorious of them, Centralia, Pennsylvania, how that one started was that they closed it down because of coal fires. And I remember hearing that in 1962, a coal fire began in one of the abandoned mine shafts not far from the town of Centralia. And unfortunately, this was a type of mine where people threw their garbage in, which some of the stuff they had, putting it near coal, even active coal groups or flammable type, that's a deadly combination, especially within a mine. So it caught on fire. The fire department tried, putting out these flames, but these coal fires, they're not like when you try to put out a fire if your house is on fire. These will recharge and will restart up again because of all the gases underground. After 20 years or so, they try. After everything they could think of, the entire town was abandoned. The entire town was abandoned. Almost all the buildings have been
medium rare.
Almost everything has been knocked down.
Like it pink with blood in it? Yes. Medium rare.
So almost all the buildings and houses have since been torn down, except for maybe just a few buildings. And to this day, there are still at least 5 to 6 permanent residents still living in Centralia because they had a deal with the government and that they were allowed to live in the remaining houses for the rest of their lives. Once they passed away, those houses would be demolished, but the coal fires are still happening as we speak, and they're expected to be burning underground for at least another 250 more years.
As long as something keeps feeding it the gases that it needs to keep burning, it can go on indefinitely.
Well, here's the craziest thing, and this is for a film. Centralia actually served as the inspiration for the movie Silent Hill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Although Silent Hill has one of the best kills I have ever seen in a movie.
Think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, the one where the big monster grabs that woman, picks her up, and he just rips her entire skin off.
Pyramid Head. That's his name. Pyramid Head. He's the most notorious monster of the Silent Hill saga.
Yeah, I've only seen just that first movie. I haven't seen any of the sequels. But that scene is one of the best cinematic kills I've ever seen.
I'm going to show this real quick. I just uploaded this picture. I actually have a photo of what Centralia looked like prior to the 1962 fires and what it looks like today. It's side by side. So here, check this out.
Wow.
So you can see it used to be a nice little town before the coal fires took over. And the only thing left is the street and some power lines, and that's it. Everything else is gone.
And a building on the right-hand side.
Yep. And a roadside too, but obviously you go there now, you won't find much. And there are some areas that you can't access because, again, of the coal fires. You breathe those gases in, you're done. That will burn you from the inside out.
That's pretty sad that happened to that town.
It really is. Because it does look like by its appearance that even I'm assuming this picture was probably taken back sometime in the either the late 1950s, early 1960s, and it does look like it was.
Would that be in 60s or 70s? Just based off the vehicles.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was thinking earlier because they, like I said, even when the coal fire started, they didn't evacuate the town immediately. People were still living in Centralia for several more years, even after when the fire started. But you could still see, nonetheless, that
At the time, they probably didn't realize how dangerous it really was.
I don't think they realized it either.
Because
But,
think is back in the 70s, they used to allow smoking in the emergency room of the hospitals.
That's
I
right.
remember those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't really. Sorry, what?
They thought that was safe.
They thought it was safe too. Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So during this time frame, that doesn't surprise me at all that was still a bustling town because they didn't understand the dangers of it. And they probably did not really have the technology or the knowledge to understand that it was dangerous.
I think they probably just assumed that, well, it's burning underground. It's not going to affect us. As long as it's underground, it's not a big deal. But it really eventually became a huge deal because I think sometime in the early 80s, there was a kid who almost got swallowed up in a sinkhole from the fires. Because thankfully he was playing outside in the backyard and suddenly the ground just gave way and he almost fell right into this basically like a pit of hell. Thankfully, his brother happened to be nearby and he was able to save his life before he fell into this hot pit, if you will.
Is there a lake nearby?
I don't know if there's a lake nearby, but the problem is too, is even if there are lakes or anything, when it comes to coal fires, rain, lakes have very little effect on coal fires.
Yeah, rains have very little effect because there's a difference between raining and flooding.
Yeah.
If they could somehow flood the coal mines, not just water hose from the fire department or whatever they were doing, find a way to pump water from a good sized lake and just empty the entire lake out into that mine.
So the way I see it is that they could most likely do that. That is a very big likely possibility. But the problem is, and this is the reason why nothing has really been done, since the town was abandoned, was I think it was just too expensive to really put a project like that together and put the fires out. They're just thinking, well, it's going to have to let nature take its course and let it burn for another 200 years or so. But it would be a good idea if there was some way to drain, like you said, drain the lakes and use it to put the coal fires out permanently. Here, I found another picture. This is a rare picture I have of one of the coal fires. This picture was taken back in 1969. It wasn't not very much what you see, but you can kind of see evidence of the coal fires that start this was probably the earliest image of the coal fires that were affecting Centralia.
That's a black and white picture?
It's a black and white picture, but that big white spot there, that's the fires. That's one of the fires when it was, I think somebody was digging up underground and they caught a view of the flames, and obviously that one of the guys had a camera with them and he took an immediate photo of it.
Okay. Taking his life into his own hands by going down there.
Yep. Scary stuff.
Oh,
hey, Scott.
Tomorrow is Scott's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, old man.
Happy birthday, Scott.
Let's see. Well, we can't say that. Santa is, he has no age.
No, he's as old as Santa. I'll say it. He's as old as Santa.
I mean,
Yeah, we've been talking a little bit about everything, Scott. We talked about the GoFundMe for Clarissa. Then we moved on to the political world, which Adrian was probably the smartest one of all three of us and kept her mouth shut.
Hey, I was being neutral.
I was neutral too.
Yeah.
I didn't show any favoritism toward one side. I just told it how it is.
Yep.
Then we talked about the atomic bombs,
Earthquakes,
tsunamis,
ghost
Yeah.
towns.
talking about abandoned towns, Centralia.
Centralia, yeah.
Yeah. What we have not talked about that we said we were going to is the
Yeah.
Conjuring House.
I was hoping we'd talk about that.
About what?
The Conjuring House.
Okay, I was very nice during the political aspect of it, and it's because I have an opinion, and it's very, very loud and obnoxious. But I'm not going to keep my mouth shut on this one.
No. Unfortunately, I was only able to watch the first couple minutes of it because, again, I had a rough night last night, so I fell asleep. I was able to watch the first couple minutes.
You need to watch a whole lot more than that to have an opinion, I guarantee it.
I've already planned after this is going to be I'm going to start watching it then.
What I'm going to say,
Just looking at the posts that this lady is making on her business page
Mhm.
tells you how unhinged she is.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
You have an opinion? No way.
No, I did not on that one. I kept my mouth shut. That's a huge thing. I should get kudos for that. That's huge. No, Jason. Now, I don't give two shits if he's famous or if he's not. I don't give two shits. Whether I like him or whether I don't on his shows. I don't give a shit. He presented facts. Undisputable text messages, which a couple it was so funny. He's not used to doing this. So a couple of them he couldn't
He has said many times, I do not want to be making this video, but I have to. He has said that numerous times.
Well, and one of our friends, which I won't name her, one of our friends had an inkling of what was going on when this first started happening. And a person told her, I will never go back to that place. Ever. And that was right after the change of
Hey, Lauren.
hands. And nobody knew the extent of what really happened until these former employees started coming out. I saw them before I saw what Jason posted. And some of them he posted everything up there. I mean, the texts, the screenshots, all of it were there. The resignations where she's saying that she fired him, she absolutely did not. She was panicking and asking them to come back. When they didn't, it went from begging to anger to threatening. And there was a couple of things he could not show screenshots of because the phone numbers were not blacked out and personal information. And he did not show, any kind of money numbers from the house, things like that. But I'm going to tell you, there was no time at all that the people, if something was said that was questionable, they took responsibility for it. One of the TAPS team was, I'm not going to say the reason for it because we could have all done it, but the barn fire and the reason that it burned down, one of the TAPS team, and you'll have to watch a video to see, it still affects him to this day. He put some rags in a bag after doing some painting. And, you know, you don't think about it. Jason says, you know, I work with wood. I do the same thing, and I don't anymore. But the reason the barn caught on fire was because of rags that were put in a bag and they combusted. I do know you couldn't put them in a dryer because that will happen. Even if you wash them and put them in a dryer, it's still going to happen. I knew that, but I did not know about putting them in a bag. Common mistake.
What was this? Was this during the summertime when this happened?
I believe it was. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so just that heat.
Yeah.
Is
I
it's
think.
inside that barn? You got that greenhouse effect.
Mm-hmm. And he was hired to paint. They were between shows on taps, and he was trying to make some extra money. You know, as much as people want to believe that these people make millions of dollars on these shows, they absolutely do not.
No, they
So,
don't. No.
you know, they have their real jobs as well, just that their real jobs have to be lenient. And he offered to help Satori. And with the owner's permission, help Satori paint that place because she was going to make it a museum along with the owner. Well, it burned down and they blamed Satori. Not that she did it, but that the person she hired was worthless. Well, it's one of the TAPS team. And he said, you know, when I got the call at 2 or 3 in the morning, I was devastated because I knew it was my fault. I knew when they said that those bags had combusted that they weren't lying. And he said, I have to drive by it every day and see that barn's not there anymore. You know, they owned up to whatever they did. And it was not malicious. It was not intent. She also put up a video the other day, and I'm going to get banned off that page because I just put a comment on there. This bitch is batshit crazy.
A lot of people are getting banned. My news feed has been nothing but, well, I've been banned by the Conjuring page. Welcome to the club.
I haven't yet.
I've seen it too.
I haven't yet, but she put a video up saying that it was Jason that pulled up into her house and that the spirits protected her. Okay, if you watch that video, I don't see a person because they were in the vehicles. I do not see. It was pitch black, and all you're seeing is the headlights of the vehicle and it pulling out. How did the spirits protect her? And this bitch is saying that the spirits of the Conjuring house are telling her that her former employees are stealing.
I'm looking at your comment right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. One of two things is happening. If those spirits are affecting you like you say they are, you have no business owning that home because you don't know how to handle it. Or two, you're fucking schizophrenic and you need to get some help.
Yep.
She didn't have no idea what money is going in and out of her account. She was not there to run the tours and people lost money. That's bullshit.
You know, I can't help but wonder because since this is kind of all over the place, I often can't help but wonder if the remaining members of the Perron family, if they've gotten word about this, especially Andrea. Like, I can't imagine. Like,
I can't either. And I wondered about that today myself.
Because, well, as you know, I mean, as you guys, I've met Andrea, and she knows who I am too. I mean, first off, if you haven't met her, she's one of the sweetest ladies you could ever meet. I mean, she was like every time it's like as if I'm a grandson to her. So, and you know, with what she went through in that house, I think Andrea definitely would be telling a very different tale, especially when it involves those spirits of that house. And something tells me too that she definitely is probably not happy with the way how things have been going on with that house, especially with this individual you're talking
Well,
about.
I'm sure she's
Well,
not.
I have a question. Since has Andrea ever mentioned that witch that is
So
supposedly haunting that place?
So it's kind of both a yes and no question.
Bathsheba.
Yes,
Bathsheba.
Bathsheba, yeah.
Bathsheba,
Bathsheba, yeah. Bathsheba
That's
Sherman, that's her name.
not the real thing there.
So the yes part, indeed, Bathsheba probably lived in that house, if I'm correct, because I did a
No.
Nick Files up.
She did
No,
not
well,
live in that
Well,
house.
no. What I was going to say was not necessarily in the actual location, but like in the area.
She was a next door neighbor.
Yeah, she was a next door neighbor. That's
Mhm.
what I wasn't trying to say in the immediate house I'm talking about. She was more of the next door neighbor.
Mhm.
And contrary to popular belief, there was no story at all saying that she was indeed a witch.
Yeah.
She was a suspect, supposedly for the murder, but there was no evidence to prove that she was actually responsible for that baby, or supposedly there was no story that she proclaimed her love to Satan, that she hung herself at 3:15 in the morning. There was none of that.
No.
I think honestly, even Andrea has kind of defended Bathsheba's name, and as best way I can describe it is Bathsheba's become kind of a scapegoat, not just in death, but even in life. I think she was just kind of looked at. They just blamed her on it, and without the evidence to prove it. I mean, if anything, I think Bathsheba had as I would probably say, maybe a terrible life, being looked down. She was never a witch. She was never, even if she had that appearance, like it may have scared people, that doesn't necessarily mean that she was an evil person. I think she was just basically the, I don't even know how to describe her, but she didn't really have.
From what I read, she was a neighbor.
Yeah.
And of course, census back then was completely different. So what I saw was she was a neighbor. She supposedly had 4 other children that were never on the census and died before, any of that ever happened. She got to see her son. Her husband died. She died 4 years later. Her son, she got to see him married to his fiance. And nothing. The reason that this came about, that she was this witch and she was doing this, was because Lorraine came in when they were having issues.
Yes.
And she said, I guess the family at the time told her about this stab wound they got in the back of the leg, and there was a puddle of blood, but there was no pain. And she was looking for a bee or whatever else, and it was exactly circular. Okay, number one, you're not going to find that damn bee because it's dead. If it's a wasp, it's gone.
Yep.
But if it's the size of a knitting needle, I'm sorry. No.
Well, and the other thing
Hi,
too,
Starla, honey, I haven't seen her tonight.
What I also know too is that and that's the other thing too. Actually, I forgot to point this out when we were talking about Andrea. If you guys didn't know, sadly, speaking of the parent family, her mother Carolyn recently passed away. So there's only Roger and I think
the baby.
Andrea. Yeah, well, Roger, Andrea, and 3 sisters left, because I know one of her sisters passed away a couple years ago. But yeah, I know they got extended family. But the other thing too, I remember from Andrea, what she was telling, like what she would, and it's amazing that even after 50 years after everything that occurred there, she still gets highly emotional when she talks about it.
Yeah.
And she has said,
everyone's a life-altering event.
Yeah, well, and also she lived there for 10 years. She didn't just live there back in 1971. She lived there until 1981. And and that's right, Tom. Yeah, the Perrin family actually kicked the Warrens out of the house during the supposed exorcism.
Yes, he did. The husband did.
Okay, I want to circle back to what's going on over there right now. about that video. Where she
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
so the guy that was actually driving the truck, I found him. His name is Donnie Holbrooks. He was the guy that was supposed to be there that night for the investigation and everything. And that is his truck backing up out of there and leaving. And the next day, it was his sister, I think, who messaged him saying that this woman had posted a video of him in his truck saying it was either Jason Hawes or somebody that Jason Hawes sent to assassinate her.
Right. Yeah.
Number one, in order for there to be an assassination, you have to be somebody of great importance.
She thinks she is.
She's got another thing coming.
The
She
bitch
does.
is loony. I'm telling you, the bitch is crazy.
Yeah. So I have actually reached out to this guy named Brian. He was the manager of the place, I think.
He was like a caretaker. Yeah.
So I've reached out to him to invite him onto this show.
Hell yeah.
So far, he has not responded. He did accept my friend request, but he has not responded to my message.
The question is he still working there? There's some people that are still working there.
No, he's the one that got fired, and she owes money to
What's his name?
Brian.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
I
there-
saw his video.
there
Okay.
is still one person left working there. That last I heard.
Okay.
But the way things are going, once that person's gone, she ain't gonna have nobody come in to work with her
She's
anymore.
not.
No, because
Yeah, like-
she is making people say, like, she's making people sign contracts. They will not put out any footage without her consent.
That's ridiculous.
If they debunk something, they are not allowed to put it out.
Yeah, that's not gonna
God.
work for me.
No,
Not
no,
gonna work for me either.
absolutely not.
Well, and again, as someone who knows some of the parent family, that's definitely not going to work with me.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
No, it's
I'm not-
it's absolutely not. And there's lots of stories going around now, which I understand. Some people, like the pastor that lived in the house, got hardly any activity. Like somebody mentioned, maybe not. It's because they didn't believe in it, so they didn't see it. I know that's a thing because Zach doesn't believe in any of it, and he don't see shit. I'm telling you, he's got blinders on. It could
I think
happen in
that-
front of him.
That's who we're talking about, right, Jerry? Because Top said this week another person quit because of the backlash.
I
That
don't
might be
know if
that
it was this
person
week.
that I heard that was still left. That
I think
might
so,
be
too.
it. Yeah. So maybe
as
he
of
wasn't anybody.
Yesterday, I don't think they had quit, the last person, but it's possible. She's treating their employees very badly.
Yeah. So on it. So much can happen on a day-to-day basis, especially when it comes to situations like this.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but as a community, I don't think we're going to sit back and just let something happen when we know there's evidence in front of us. It started out, I remember when it started. It started out with them putting out that Corey and Satori were just faking everything. They wouldn't take their shoes off, whatever the case was. Okay, number one, Satori has some big shoes to fill. She's Jason Hawes' daughter. Okay, she's got some big shoes to fill. And if I know anything about Jason, which I'm not saying, I don't know him personally, I absolutely do not. But he's not going to allow that shit to happen under his
Oh
name.
no. he wouldn't. Well, I've met Corey, so I think obviously I know they're just kind
Corey,
of what.
Jason,
Corey is an in-law, not yet, but soon to be.
Soon.
And I'm not buying this bullshit because I don't think Jason's going to allow this because his name's writing on it. Now, if it was someone else we know, maybe it would happen. But this is Jason's daughter.
That's actually what I'm kind of about to go into, because I watched the video that Jason put out. He finally addressed the whole everything's a demon thing.
Yeah.
And he's telling people you need to stop it.
Yep.
God,
Yep.
God.
It's demonic. It's bullshit. These are his words.
Absolutely, it's true. And the other thing is,
No, Nick.
we
I know,
all have
I know.
personal experiences,
Yeah.
and we all investigate a different way, and we all get messages a different way. If that's their way, that is their way. Who are we to judge that? And who are we to try to debunk that? Now, if there's video footage that, it's debunked, okay. But there's not, and it has not been.
Hey,
So
Bob.
how can we prove our personal experiences? We cannot. That's a whole point of the paranormal.
Exactly.
It's just no. And this person has no business owning a paranormal
No.
location, period.
If I have evidence and I want to put something out, I'm going to. You're not going to stop me. It's my
Yep.
evidence. It's my personal property. I don't care what you say. I'm going to put it out if I want to put it out. If you want to come after me, try it.
And that's actually something I was going to say similarly. Like, for example, when I got that footage from Crown Point Jail. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I know Sandy's not that kind of person, but let's say if she or somebody else who owned the jail was saying, you're not going to put that out, I'd say the same thing. I would probably say, like, saying, if they tell me you need to not release that footage, I literally would say, it's my ass, because I'm going to release it anyway.
It's my footage.
It's yours. It's yours. You do what you want with it.
Yeah.
But they don't allow that. See, Tom, I've never met
'Cause we have met 'em.
people. I can't say I ever have. I probably never will. But I can tell when somebody's being fake and when they're not. And I will stand behind this shit because the evidence is right there in front of us. I mean,
Yeah. Yes, we are, Bob. Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are. And actually, not much longer because we need to get off of here.
okay. Somebody click on this Bernard's profile. What
Yeah,
is
we
that?
are. Jeremy told
I went and got rid of that. That's just a scammer.
Okay.
it is.
No.
I was gonna say if he's from close, I'll help.
No.
I also just want to throw this out quickly too. And this was actually something Andrea had once said, about that house. Contrary to popular belief, although like a lot of us call it the Conjuring House, she or her family have never actually called it the Conjuring House. And I've actually been you guys have never really heard me say it myself. Knowing them personally, I've kind of been paying that homage in a way. They just simply call it like the Harrisville Haunting House. So that's what I just simply call instead of the Conjuring House.
Isn't the Harrisville something a little different?
No, it's in Harrisville, Rhode Island, but they just never referred to it as the Conjuring House like everybody else has. It was really after the movie.
I don't remember reading anywhere that anything was ever conjured.
I don't think there was. I think it just got its name after the movie came out.
Yeah. And the movie was made in a completely different state with a house that looked nothing like it. And
house was real small, in fact.
But it's a 2-story. The
Yeah.
movie is a 1-story with a built-in garage.
Andrea has said on multiple occasions that between the real events and the film, only probably about 10%, if not even 5%, actually happened. The rest was basically just for the movie.
Right. And supposedly Lorraine was making sure that it was accurate,
Yes.
and not so much.
They never called them for help. They just actually showed up on their doorstep.
Making sure that whatever's being said is accurate or not.
Yep.
Right.
Well, like I said, they never even called them for help. There was no class that was going on. They just showed up on their doorstep one day.
Right. And how they got that information, I would like to know. But
Probably
I know
locals.
the youngest, I can't remember her name now. I just read it today. The youngest little girl will not speak about it. She's just not doing it.
She does. I think she spoke once, but that was it. Like, I think that was the only time. And also, I just want to throw this out too when it comes to, again, like Bathsheba. Andrea was infuriated when people had vandalized Bathsheba's grave because like half of it was cut down.
I saw
And
it was broke.
it was broken. And I think the video's still up on YouTube where, again, Andrea is very emotional but angry at the same time, saying that I cannot believe this has been done to Bathsheba's grave over a movie. And she also had said, in spite of what Bathsheba unfortunately has become, they never said, indeed, there were evil entities in that house. It just wasn't her. There were multiple entities, but they also said, even while they were living in that house, not everything was bad and terrible. There was other times that things were good in the house. There were good times and bad times.
Part of the folklore says that Bathsheba hung herself or whatever, and there's another one that says that she turned to stone when she died. What the? Grow the hell up. What?
Yeah.
Grow up.
You know what I did actually when I did a Nick Files episode on it? I mean, like I always do a lot of times. I tell the story first as it's supposedly told. But then we get right to the facts after I tell the story. I might say, like, I kind of have that skeptical side to it. I say Bathsheba may have died in kind of a mysterious way, but it was definitely not those ways. That's for sure.
She was old, number one.
She was old, yeah.
Her husband died 4 years prior.
That's right, Bob.
And
He had nothing to do with anything. Oh, she's this person again.
and this is a lot of things. And the more I'm looking into this, the more I'm realizing that maybe the Warrens put themselves places convenient.
Yep.
And maybe just tried to make some money off of things.
I think so.
And I hate that because they really were a legend. They were leading in this whole thing, but
I had met Lorraine 2 years ago.
right. I remember that. And you'd think you'd want to have respect for people like that, but when you read the facts, maybe not so much.
Obviously, I met her years before Conjuring, and I learned about that story. So, like, obviously, at that time, I had huge respect. But after coming across the true facts of what really happened at that house, it's just like, it's like I like them still, but now I kind of have a different view of them.
Now, I remember them saying there was in that house, there was 8. Was there 8 generations of families that lived and died in that home?
I think so. I would have to go back to my presentation. I
think
said
it was
something
8.
like that about them. And the house was even older than like what you hear in the movie, because they said, I think like in the movie, it was like built in 1863 during the Civil War. In reality, that house is much older. I mean, it was built even before we ever became the United States. It was like back in the late 1600s it was built.
Yeah, I mean, 8 generations, that's going back.
Yeah.
Let's give or take.
And there's no evidence either. And there's also no evidence to say that Bathsheba was ever descendant of any of the witches from the Salem witch trials. Definitely not. Yeah, 1674 or something like that. That's correct. I think it was either the 1670s or 1680s it was built.
Hey guys, we need to get
we
going.
gotta run.
It's coming on 10 o'clock, and I need to hop over. And
I can't help that you're trying to be a co-host on somebody else's show.
It's a really good conversation, you got to admit.
Well, we can definitely continue this on next week, because I'm sure that there's going to be a whole lot more to talk about in a week's time.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Bob, if you want to continue being part of this conversation, we'll continue next week, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll definitely continue this next week. Meanwhile, we still got one more open mic night and then we're going to start having a whole bunch of guests.
Wait a minute. This is the only show in months I have not been eating. My dinner's not done.
Oh,
That's right.
Zach,
You made it.
bad boy.
He's cooking steak on the grill.
No, it's on.
Well,
You don't feel bad. I haven't had dinner yet myself, and also I've recently lost 15 pounds.
So we're going to go. Adrian is going to throw Zach on the grill. So she's going to have her medium rare meat. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for playing along. We will see you guys next week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all.